So great. We are also live on YouTube, so you can share the link I've shared over there. So without wasting much further ado, let me just give the hosting rights to Louis so that he can take us through today's session, which is Bitcoin versus bank. I hope you have a pen and paper. Grab as much as you can, and also in case you have any question, just drop it on the chat. Just drop it over there. I'll be on the chat, just checking and replying to your questions. So, Louis, take it away.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you for the brief introduction. Welcome, Bright, Brian, and Hugo. This will also be live, I think, on Facebook and also YouTube. So you can always check on it later, just to revise and check on what we shared, or rather we've been sharing from the past since we started these sessions. So as Lawrence said, my name is Louis. We together with Lawrence, we run Decrypt, which is a consulting firm in terms of blockchain and cryptocurrencies, just trying to break down to you in an easier way how to get started and how to make use of this big emerging technology that is with us. So I thought today to share something that maybe it is always at the back of our minds. First of all, I hope you can all hear and see me before I get to share my screen. Thank you for the confirmation. So always remember to invite your loved ones, your people you care about, just to get education, because it's all about education and awareness. Is how you get to make value out of all these new ways of doing things. So I'm also admitting new people to the group as we proceed. So as I was saying earlier, I thought to share, or rather we have a small discussion about banks and Bitcoin. Bitcoin, not only Bitcoin, but also all the other cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin because it's the king, it's the main one, it's the most valuable, it has all the factors that makes a cryptocurrency valid. So let me share my screen, and I'll be starting with it's one of the websites we normally check on news, and just to give you a review, in the beginning, all banks were saying we want blockchain, not Bitcoin. That is like about 8, even 10 years ago or 7 years ago. The key focus was on blockchain. They didn't want to talk about Bitcoin. Because they were saying blockchain is the technology that is most valuable, but Bitcoin is not. It's just a speculative asset. It's just something that money launderers are using. But interesting, as by this article by Fortune, I think it's Fortune magazine. They have a website. So on August 26th, as you can see over there, the title. Big banks flipped the script. Now it's Bitcoin, not blockchain. Now, I don't know whether if you've been following all our Bitcoin on one, it's all about how these big boys do play their games. If you actually hear what they tell you, trust me, you'll never move or make anything out of this industry. It's always key to see how what it is they are doing, not what they're saying. I think we constantly keep on saying that. Don't listen to what they're doing, watch what they're doing and copy that. So this was just a document, or rather one of the articles done by JP Morgan. And actually they are now, as you can see, they are flipping the script. So it's all about what script are you subscribing to? What script are you subscribing to? Do you just wait for people to tell you A, B, C, D, then you follow it, or you want to watch them what they're doing? So apparently now that the Bitcoin rally is coming up, everybody out there, every analyst out there, every bank CEOs and stuff, they're all talking about Bitcoin. Now they have seen that this thing is going away. So let me just share what I actually prepared, and I hope you can see that. The biggest problem that actually all these people are trying to run away from is the monopoly. And monopoly meaning what? Monopoly, that is actually the only reason why all these big banks and institutions are getting worried. So the prime reason why banks are worried about blockchain technology, in this case now Bitcoin, because that is now also the key thing, is the fact that innovative fintech products threaten the monopoly banks currently operate on a global level. Now, moreover, blockchain are fueling industry wide range, while banks are absolutely terrified of changing even their legacy and cumbersome operations. So as we know it, the bank system has always seemed very simple and traditional. We trust bank to store our value, rather our money, in this case, the currencies, and facilitate spending. Their bread and butter is paying interest on deposit and charging fees for lending to all the depositors. So that's simple how I think, let me just unmute new people. I think some guys on the waiting list. I didn't see that. Just a minute. Okay. Just a minute. Let me admit these new guys. Okay, I think we're good to go. So let me share the screen properly. I think I touched something over there. Yeah, so as we proceed, I was talking about, welcome Valerie and is it Christine? So the key reason why banks and Bitcoin, because the topic today is banks and Bitcoin. So what is the key problem that Bitcoin is causing? And I was getting into it. It's all about the monopoly, and no one wants to be disrupted on how they've been operating. And the last statement on this sentence was that the key the bread and butter for all the banks, whether it's total banks, whether it's all these local banks, is that all the citizens, everybody, whether it's as long as you want to deal in money, you at one point you'll want to take a loan, so that means you'll be paying an interest, and for them to operate the account, it's the fees of rather sending or receiving or transferring. That's all the banks have been doing. Now, here comes a new way of doing things that now Bitcoin actually enables. And going by what you can see over there, it's a very simple analogy that shows like now you'll see the portrait of a person on the left and the right side. That is on the top part of this picture. So it's very simple. When, let's say I want to send some money to Valerie, for instance, all I need to do is just send. For me, I want the quickest and the fastest way to send money to Valerie, and that is what actually Bitcoin is doing. But if you look at what we have, see all that process from PSP to local bank.
So I cannot share screen. Hello. Hey, you all can hear me, right? Just give me a one if you can hear me. Louis will be back in a few seconds. Yes. So Louis will be back in a few seconds. Our lights have just gone off in the office. So I hope you all can hear me. Just give me a one if you can hear me. Give me a one if you great. So as Louis is connecting to the other laptop, I think what I'll do, as he was discussing about banks and Bitcoin, I can go ahead and share my screen on a topic I saw today in regards to the same, as he is coming back in a few, where I saw somebody talk of there's a threat of really CBDCs fighting banks, getting banks out of the way. So Just 1 second, let me just look for it so that I can share that. But you can be dropping any chat or any question you have over there. There's just something I saw on somebody talking about how the CBDCs might take over the banking sector. So just 1 second. So I think it's in one of my sharing. So what I'll do, let me just share my screen so that I can just start over with our news today. And of course, as I'm waiting for Luis to come back, number one, I wanted to start with the price of Bitcoin. And basically today, we've seen today Bitcoin is around 18,930. This is the current price of Bitcoin if you really like want to hold one Bitcoin. And I think there's a whole lot of volatility currently in the marketplace because nobody knows which direction Bitcoin will go to. A whole lot of people, especially those people who are out there, they're saying Bitcoin might retest back 1514. And again, if it hits the resistance of all-time high, which was 9,680 in 2017, we might see another all-time high to around $25,000. When, we don't know, but at least the markets will dictate. So when it comes to adoption, I think one of the key things that has really driven Bitcoin price, and I do believe, and a whole lot of people do believe who are in the crypto space, is how the institutional investors have put a whole lot of money in Bitcoin. And just starting with Grayscale, I think Grayscale has been one of the biggest players in terms of Bitcoin buying. And they've really gone way ahead in taking like almost the whole of Bitcoins that are being freshly mined. And we know that Bitcoin is capped to 21 million. 21 million Bitcoins. Already we have 18.6 million already in circulation. So we have around 2.2 million remaining. I think 18.8 currently. So we have around 2.2 million remaining to be mined. And apparently, Grayscale is absorbing, or they are taking all those new mined Bitcoins as they come. So you can see over here, to start my news, Grayscale absorbs $1.7 million more in Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. And I think the whole of this week, they've accumulated to the tune of, they added 7,188 Bitcoins into their crypto holdings. This is close to $136 million. And currently they are holding over 500,000 Bitcoins, 500,000 Bitcoins. This is Grayscale. And these are some of the people who never believed in Bitcoin. I think Grayscale started buying Bitcoins last year. Yet, all this whole time they've been calling Bitcoin a bubble, they've been calling Bitcoin a scam. And like Louis was saying, these are people who used to praise blockchain, but not Bitcoin. You remember when Louis started, he said what? A whole lot of people were praising blockchain and they were not talking about Bitcoin. They were praising the technology, not the real value that gives the technology value. And I think this is one of the questions I used to ask people when I started training. If I come with a bottle of water and I just take the water away, will you take the water or will you take the bottle? Because the water is what gives that bottle value. And this is now what we talk about. Bitcoin is what gives blockchain value. It was the first use case, and we're going to see a whole lot of other use cases that will come in. Now, moving on to other big company, I think this was one of my biggest news this week. This was one of my biggest news this week. S&P Dow Jones indices to launch cryptocurrency indexes in 2021. They are all in now. So you can imagine these are companies that have been doing funds management for the longest time ever, and now they are going towards what? Bitcoin. And I think what will drive the next all-time high of Bitcoin is FOMO. And by FOMO, I mean institutional investors will FOMO, like what happened in 2017. 2017 is individuals who had the FOMO, and that's why we had a whole lot of press rally. But this time around, institutional investors are the ones that are falling into fear of missing out, and they're putting billions of money in the cryptocurrency space. So I don't know whether Luis is back. We're good to go. So I'll come back with the news. So let me just give Luis back the hosting rights so that he can take us through the lesson. So 1 minute. So there you go, Luis, take it away.
Thank you, Lawrence. I don't know whether you can hear me from the on the chat. Am I audible enough? Hello, can you hear me? Okay. So let me get to sharing my screen. As I said, sorry about the interruption. I think it's power failure where we are, but all in good. At least we have a backup. So let me go ahead and share my screen about the bank versus Bitcoin. So I was coming to the point whereby I was talking about the process that actually goes into place when somebody is transferring any value from point A to point B. So you realize, and I think I was using the example of Valerie, who said who was like, for you to transfer any money, one thing is you want a simple, clear way from point A to point B. That is fast, that is secure, and that is private. Actually, those are the three key things that one needs to when they're looking to transfer money. And the particular image on your screen shows you how tedious it is actually when you are using the normal systems. Only that we don't know, because that is what we've known for so long. Remember, you're going all through all this process. So let us use a very simple example of like an RTGS transfer. So you go to either your ATM or your local bank. Once that is done, the local bank will have to go through ACH. I don't know what that is. Then to go to the corresponding bank, that is now to use the SWIFT, the SWIFT system. Now again, it has to go all the cycles. Just look at how that is tedious. Now, I think let me put the light over there. Hope you can. I'm visible on the face. Okay, yeah. So now look at how it is now for you to transfer using Bitcoin. It is straight from A to B. But now we have all these other systems, Western Union, we have Ripple, we have all these other forms of money that is now trying to solve the same problem. Now, if you look at, let's say, Western Union, for just by example, you need to go to the agent. You can see over there after the image on the left side, the portrait, that is the person with the face and the tie. He has to go to the transfer agent, then to go through the Western Union system. You can see at the center, the one that is black. So now Western Union will again go to the local bank to go again to the same process. You can see it has to go through the same process of SWIFT, depending on which transfer they are doing. But now that is what Bitcoin is coming to disrupt. I hope that is clear. Now, to summarize what I rather to visualize, to give you a big visual of the banks and Bitcoin scenario, what you're seeing over there is it's called the money flower, because it is a replica of a flower. Now you have seen there is a red cycle, there is a blue cycle, there is a light blue cycle, and then there is a is it yellow or is it orange? Yeah, I think it's orange. So we have orange cycle or yellow. We have a blue cycle. We have a light blue cycle, and we have a red cycle. So all these basically now let's go to the red circle. So red circle symbolizes universally accessible, meaning if you are in the red circle, you are able to access that service. The light blue cycle, which is next to the red, is electronic. It symbolizes an electronic way of doing some payments. The blue cycle is what you call a central bank issued either money or currency. And then the yellow one on the extreme right side is what you call peer-to-peer. So where at the center, you'll see there is cash and there is Bitcoin. So Bitcoin basically is it is universally accessible, it is electronic, yet again it is peer-to-peer. So you have basically two systems of cash and Bitcoin, and that is what now what you can say Bitcoin is basically disrupting the whole ecosystem, because we've known that if you look down below, precious metal that is at the bottom at the bottom part of the flower of this money flower. Precious metals is universally accessible, and then it is peer-to-peer. But it's not electronic, and it's not centrally issued. I hope that is you're getting that. If you move up now to cash and Bitcoin. So cash has the cycle of universally accessible. It has a cycle of it is a central bank issued, and then again it has a cycle of what electronic. That is what cash is. If you look at on the right side, Bitcoin is universally accessible. It is peer-to-peer. It is electronic, and it is not centrally issued. That is what Bitcoin doesn't have. It is not centrally issued. With cash, it is not what. With cash, it is not electronic, as you can see on this money flower. If you move up again, we have the Fed coin. Just Lawrence talked about central bank digital currency. So Fed coin is one of the projects that actually the federal government is now working on. We even have M-Pesa. If you look at the red part, M-Pesa. Gold is actually straight over there. So it's not peer-to-peer. It is not centrally issued, but it is what it is accessible. It is electronic. So, in summary, Bitcoin and cash is sort of similar. Only that cash is not electronic, but Bitcoin is electronic. Yet again, Bitcoin is not centrally issued. So the key things that separate Bitcoin and banks is the fact of centralization and the fact of whether it's electronic, and also the fact that it's peer-to-peer. So, and that is why I think, as I summarize, Bitcoin basically challenges all centralized payment systems, and that is from Western Union, from PayPal, to anything that is a payment system and it is centrally centered, even Visa card for that fact. So I think that was my thought to share today, whereby Bitcoin basically is questioning the monopoly of banks, and this is how and this is where the world is heading to as in terms of where the future is going to. So I hope that that was my brief session today, and I appreciate your time, and I hope you got something from it. So let me send the hosting back rights to Lawrence. And if you have any questions, just drop them on the chat. As Lawrence is doing the news updates, I will be handling any questions that they may be on the chat. So I hope that was quite resourceful for you, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you, and let me send the hosting back rights to Lawrence, and just a minute, I do that. Okay. Thank you.
So, thanks, Louis, for that brief intro or brief session about banks versus Bitcoin. And I guess this is one of the major reasons as to why a whole lot of, you understand why the reason as to why banks have really been fighting Bitcoin. From central banks to federal government to, a lot of institutional companies that deal with money exchanging value from one person to another, they saw Bitcoin as a threat. And currently, in fact, what I'll be sharing with you is now how all these institutions are integrating now not only blockchain but Bitcoin to their systems. So let me go ahead and share my screen just to continue with the news. I was sharing, and I was talking about S&P Jones, and you can see over there they have decided that they are going to launch cryptocurrency indexes in 2021. And I think these are some of the companies that have been talking ill about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And I think one of the major things they were saying, Bitcoin is very volatile and it's a kind of value. But now we're seeing, what we're seeing is that a whole lot of people are moving part of their portfolio from what they have been holding now into cryptocurrency. So these are some of the good news that will lead to the next all-time high of Bitcoin. So moving on swiftly to another big institutional investor, we're talking about BlackRock. I think this is the biggest asset management company in the whole world. You can do a little research on it. And you can see BlackRock Sphinx says Bitcoin can possibly evolve into global asset. So you can see now where we are heading. You can see where we're heading. And I was reading another Twitter just, I think today in the morning, where somebody was saying, how if these institutional investors continue buying Bitcoins the way they're buying, they're getting everything that is being mined. What will mean is that they'll be holding a whole lot of Bitcoins, and now people will be looking for who bought Bitcoin long time ago. The circulating supply will be too little. So you can see here that the head of the world's largest asset manager has provided a somewhat bullish take on the world's first cryptocurrency. And I think there was a time last year we were discussing, we were discussing with Louis, and we were like, if only all institutional investors just put 1% of their portfolio into Bitcoin, it means Bitcoin will have hit $1 trillion. And if it hits $1 trillion in terms of market cap, it means Bitcoin will be between $300,000 to $500,000 per one Bitcoin. So these are some of the things that keep us on our toes. What are you doing currently that this satoshis? Because right now it will be a competition between you as an individual and institutional investors. It's no longer when people are talking about Bitcoin and institutional investors were not thinking about Bitcoin. So moving on swiftly to another institution, you can see over here, investment giant Alliance Bernstein now says Bitcoin has a role in investors' portfolio. Look at this. I think the whole of this week, what we've seen is now institutional investors coming on board to Bitcoin. So you can see the research arm of New York-based Alliance Bernstein, a global investment manager with over $601 billion in assets under management, has had a change of heart when it comes to Bitcoin as an investment asset. So this shows you that institutional investors who've been watching Bitcoin from the side, currently what they're doing is that they have gotten what we call, it's like a validation. They're waiting for other people to jump in, that guts, for them to have guts to jump on board. And you see, of course, they are not coming in small, they are coming in big time. Moving on swiftly to some other news. I started with just institutional investors, then we'll go to some other news. So you can see again, Bitcoin gets 600,000 hits on BlackRock website. BlackRock CEO tells former Bank of England governor. So you can see this is something they're discussing. And by 600,000 such, it means these are investors who have invested in BlackRock management asset, biggest management assets in the whole world, looking at Bitcoin. So it's like your investors telling you, okay, we've made an investment with you. We want to know more about Bitcoin, because they are searching about Bitcoin on your site, not like in Google or anything. So, and this now, as a management portfolio company, this is where now you think if all our investors are gearing up or they're searching about Bitcoin, it's no brainer. We have to put part of the portfolio into Bitcoin. And it's crazy because you can see the tremendous numbers of such hits the company's website for Bitcoin. It's a call. This is a good sign for BTC. So there's no way a company like BlackRock, if their own investors are looking at Bitcoin, there's no way they will stay away from it, because now if they don't act, it means investors will ask for their portfolio and they'll go where people have put part of their portfolio in Bitcoin. So it's amazing. It's amazing. So moving on swiftly to another company. Let's see. NYDIG raises over $150 million for 2 Bitcoin investment funds. Who are these? This is a New York digital investment group. I talked about institutional investors. I think for a few weeks we've been talking about, you can see a shift has shifted from CBDCs now to institutional investors pulling and raising cash towards what? Going into Bitcoin. And maybe you can also note that a lot of institutional investors, they only talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Grayscale has diversified to other cryptocurrencies, but a whole lot of investors, what they are looking up to currently is just Bitcoin and some Ethereum. So you can see this is another institutional investor that has raised over $150 million through 2 separate cryptocurrency investment funds, according to documents filed in the United States Securities Exchange Commission on November 24th and December 1st. So it's good to see where is money moving now to. It's into cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. Moving on swiftly, you can see this is another one. A major anime platform incorporates crypto and NFTs to ebook market. Now, my anime list, this is a company that deals with some animations and manga, with an estimated 10 million North American users, is incorporating cryptocurrency payments into ecosystem. This is another company. How do we not miss where the world is heading? For them, they are like, let's now accept cryptocurrencies. These are some of the people who are saying cryptos are they're bad. They cannot be used as a medium of exchange. You cannot use them as a store of value. But with time, they have come to learn that if you cannot beat them, you join them. And not about when he was talking about banks and companies that help us do exchange of money. Visa is one of them. Now look at this. Visa may support USDC. This is a stablecoin, USDC credit card, after adding Circle to fast track program. Just to read on the highlight over here, Visa on Wednesday said it's linking its payments network of 60 million merchants. Look at that number, to the USDC stablecoin developed by the consortium founded by Circle and Coinbase. The news was first reported by Forbes. You can see. So, of course, Visa is looking at if Bitcoin came to disrupt all these, like Louis will still stay relevant while this digitization shift is happening. Because if they don't act up, of course, cryptocurrencies will wipe them away. So that's Visa, and still on Visa, look at this. They are looking at any option that will lead them to become still relevant. And again, Visa and BlockFi to launch Bitcoin reward credit card as adoption grows. How do we stay relevant in the space? We can imagine now you see, like when you buy and you get loyalty points, when you buy something and you get loyalty points. So now what they are going to do is that they're coming with a credit card that will reward users with BTC, Bitcoin, setting the stage for wider mainstream adoption of digital currencies. So maybe when you use your Visa card at the new credit card, at some point you get some rewards, but in Bitcoin. It's amazing. Let me just let me admit some new people here. So moving on now to another big company, PayPal, moving to another big company, PayPal from Visa. And you can see how big institutions do merchants in terms of sending and receiving Bitcoins. And
Okay, just hang on a bit. Lawrence is coming back. I think today we've had some challenges, but it's all good. It's part of also no sound from Lawrence. I think. Let me see. Okay. Just 1 second. I think he's back now. So.
so sorry about that. We're back again. So allow me to share my screen again. So I was talking about the next big company. From Visa, we go to PayPal. We know, of course, PayPal is also a kind of a merchant company that allows people to buy stuff on their online platform. And you can see over here, PayPal CEO Dan Skolmantes Web Summit. The time is now for crypto. So I think it was last month when PayPal came and said they are adopting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, and I think they added 2 more cryptos where you can buy and trade cryptos over there. So you can see for them they're not stopping. Their CEO is coming in the limelight and saying, of course, this is a time for cryptocurrency. If you're not really keen on cryptocurrencies currently, you're gonna miss out, because these are people who are not talking based on hearsay or anything. They're doing a whole lot of research. So you can see over here, I think that it can create a financial system, a new and modern technology that is faster, that is less expensive, more efficient. That's good for bringing more people into the system for inclusion, to help. Let me just enlarge a little bit. To help drive down costs, to help drive financial health for so many people. So over the long run, I'm very bullish on digital currencies of all kinds. This is the CEO of PayPal. So it's good to know that these people are not coming to try out. They are coming, and they're coming in big. Moving on to another big online shop. We all know Spotify. And you can see Spotify is one of the companies that sells audio music online. And you can see again, audio streaming giant Spotify is looking into crypto payments. So of course, people are looking at how do we get cryptos coming to our wallets. And if you're a giant company, and I cannot wait when companies like Amazon will come out directly and say, you know what, we accept Bitcoins, because these will drive adoption very high. So you can see small companies, but Spotify is not a small company; it's also a giant company. So you can see they are also into accepting cryptocurrency. Moving on, back to PayPal. This is a survey that was done, and just the other day, they are saying over 20%, almost 20% of PayPal users have used the app to trade Bitcoin. It says Mihozos, one of the manages there. So you can look over here, nearly one fifth of PayPal users have already traded Bitcoin using PayPal app, according to report published on Tuesday by Mihuzo Securities and obtained by Coindesk. So you can see these people are not sleeping. They come on board, and because I think PayPal has over 60 million, I don't know whether it's 60 million or 20 million users. So 17% of those, that's not a small number. No, they have 28 million users or merchants. So 17% of that, you can imagine they've already tested buy and sell Bitcoin on their platform. This is huge, and I think these are some of the major things that will drive cryptocurrency prices. So don't get worried or discouraged. We are learning, so apologies for all the hitches. So back to sharing my screen again, and I was talking about City Group. City Group is one of the biggest banks, and you can see over here, City Group helping world governments to build digital currencies. Says CEO. So of course, I think Citigroup is one of the companies that started doing researches a long time ago in terms of digital currencies. And of course, you want to capitalize on how can you be the biggest player when it comes to reaching out to countries that need CBDC. So you can see Citigroup, of course, through their CEO, they said CEO Michael, Chief Executive Michael Cobbett said his bank is helping governments around the world in creating a sovereign digital currencies, otherwise known as central bank digital currencies or CBDC. So of course, people are looking at how do we come on board during this digitization shift, and you can see our Bitcoin 101 topic is always digitization shift. Where are you? And this is why we educate people each and every other day. If other people have noticed there's a shift that is coming, you as a person on an individual level, what are you doing not to miss this shift? So moving on quickly to another bank, Swiss National Bank and BIS complete digital currency proofs of concept. So Louis was talking about banks versus Bitcoin. So you can see this is another bank, Swiss National Bank and BIS, that is also testing what? CBDC. How can we incorporate CBDC and how can we use other cryptocurrencies and blockchain to really still stay relevant? So again on Swiss, in this country, Swiss firm launches no fee Bitcoin exchange traded product on Nodit. This year and next year, we'll just see a whole lot of institutions coming on board cryptocurrency. So when you hear people, of course, analysts predicting that Bitcoin by 2021, you might see one Bitcoin at $100,000. I do believe it will be majorly as a result of FOMO from institutional investors. Because of course we know Bitcoin price is pegged on demand and supply. So if the supply is diminishing, what is being traded is diminishing, and more people are learning about it, it's being adopted at a high rate. Of course, the prices will skyrocket. So moving on swiftly to Germany, and you can see Legacy Germany Bank wants to start a crypto fund next year. This is another bank. Lou was talking about banks versus what? Bitcoin. And it's good to know that, of course, they know if you don't do anything, and people are getting more educated about cryptocurrencies, it will be like that company that was called Conduct with their film cameras. It's dead because right now you don't need to buy a camera. All you need is a phone and it has everything. Let's move to Pakistan, and Pakistan moves to legalize Bitcoin as economy tumble. So like we said, a whole lot of companies and countries are looking at how can we hedge ourselves from inflation or hyperinflation. So Pakistan moves to legalize what? Bitcoin as their economy tumbles. And it's this major because I think these are some of the countries which had already given a warning that Bitcoin is illegal. So moving on swiftly, I don't want to take a whole lot of time, but I'll just read the highlights. ECB chief Christine Lagarde downplays Bitcoin risks to financial stability, troubled by stable coins. I think I've been following this lady, I think, for now 3 years. She used to be the chairman of IMF, and then she resigned and she went to become the president of this Europe, I think Europe Commercial Bank, and I remember back then there's a time before she resigned. That's when she became pro crypto. And she said if banks don't see a way of integrating Bitcoin, they'll be rendered, they'll be taken out of business. So it's good to see that she's been spearheading, in fact, she's the president of the European Central Bank, and she's been spearheading the digital euro. There's a document I was reading on how she was asking people to give their views on how they can incorporate a digital euro so that they can also take advantage of crypto adoption in Europe. So moving on, Germany, and it's good to note that Germany's finance minister calls for accelerated development of digital euro. Just what I was talking about. Christine Lagarde talked about asking people to give feedback on how they would want that digital euro to really work out. Germany is stepping out and saying what? We really do need what? Digital euro. As you all know, China is already have tested their digital yuan. I said in one of our Bitcoin 101 also, the Fed and MIT research institution, they're also looking on how to come up with a digital dollar. So it's just a matter of time that the whole world will go cashless. You won't be touching money physically, but of course you'll have equivalent of that money in a digital platform on your phone or in a wallet. So again, another country, Venezuelan army start mining Bitcoin to make ends meet. Because we know Venezuela is one of the countries that was hit by hyperinflation, and of course because of the collapse of the economy, growing their economy. And what are they looking at? Bitcoin mining. And a whole lot of people do ask, is Bitcoin mining still profitable? Yes, it is. As long as you have good power, source of power, of course it will always be profitable. Now to my second last news. UAE and Saudi Arabian Central Bank releases report on a project Amber CBDC trial. So it's good to know that The central banks of the two most powerful economies in Middle East have released a report today on a year-long joint central bank digital currency. This is another country, two countries that are combining their effort to come up with their own CBDC. Again, like I said, this the whole of decade. I think this by the end of this decade, I don't think there's any country that will be using physical cash. Maybe some parts in Africa, but globally, I think we'll just be forced to go all the way to digital currencies. To Ukraine, Ukraine government sponsors educational web to show about cryptocurrencies. So I think adoption will come from education, and I think that's the reason as why we started Decrypt. If people can get to learn what is happening and they get to understand what Bitcoin is, what Bitcoin is not, because that's what I usually tell people. Once they get to experience it, of course, the belief in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will grow. And so
Hello, everyone. I think today we've had some challenges, but Lawrence was just finishing on the last bit. I hope you can hear me right now, but not to worry, because these are some of the things that it's part of the tech. So, Brian, I think you are the host apparently. Hey, let me see. Okay. Brad, maybe you can pass the hosting rights back to. Okay, I think Lawrence is back. Lawrence is back. So as we finish the session today, but I hope you're learning as well as we work with what we have.
So I was on to my last bit, and it's good to know. I found this very interesting. Champagne Zhao, this is the founder of Binance, and Binance started in 2017 apparently. And I was reading his story because I really wanted to understand how Binance had come to become the biggest global exchange in the world. And Zhao, CZ, we call him CZ, he sold his house, his car, and everything, and bought Bitcoin when it was around $600. And immediately he bought Bitcoin at $600. There was a price correction. And it came down to $200. And everybody, including the family and everyone, was telling him, please sell before this goes to zero. Of course, again, fear. And today he is leading in terms of Binance. It's the biggest crypto exchange in the whole world. They do over $2 billion of trades per day. And you can see, I found this really interesting. CZ says he expects Binance to have profit of around $800 million to $1 billion this year. That's the kind of revenue we are looking at when it comes to cryptocurrency. And it's amazing, man. Last year they did $570 million, and this was in a bear market. So you can imagine right now. Hello? You can hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, but you are not
okay, great. Okay, great. I was just saying, if you can think of 570 million in a bear market, around 1 billion 2020 in an accumulation period, what will happen to their profits in a bull market, which is expected to be between 2021 to 2022. So this is the type of revenues we are talking about when it comes to cryptocurrency. And again, you get to understand this if you get informed. So that was my news for this week. Those were my news highlight. I also had so many other exciting news from a lot of people we follow, and they are all bullish in Bitcoin, but I don't want to take much more time. You can always follow Cointelegraph in case you want also these news. You can always request for the links. Do a whole lot of research in the space. Learn a lot. Ask questions. And I guess with time, we're going to grow this community because I do believe if all of us can benefit in this digitalization shift, you not only take care of you, but you also take care of other people in your community, your friends and family. So that's the reason that's why we're here, not to grow only us, but to also grow our brothers and sisters who also want to benefit from cryptocurrency. So great. That was all for today. Bitcoin versus bank. We know that one thing is a fact. If banks don't act, Bitcoin will take them out of the market. There is no lie about that. So I hope you found this valuable. Let's see what will happen next week as more institutional investors are pulling more money in Bitcoin. We might see Bitcoin maybe hit 20,000 before 2020. If not, we are expecting around 25,000 by March. So that one nobody can really predict. It's just for us to wait and see what will happen. So I think that's all for me today. I do wish you a great, blessed weekend. Blessings in all you do, your businesses. May you be blessed also with your families. And let's go all out and educate ourselves, and especially when it comes to cryptocurrencies. So, Louis, any parting shot?
Okay, for me, just also to issue a good for this week, and also let's keep learning. Don't just watch. Don't just listen at this. Do something that just get into the play field. That's how you'll get to experience it more. And also, always remember we have the Telegram channel. We always post every day on the news updates all across the globe. Just a summary of the day. So always remember to also check that out. Invite anyone who may want to also get news every single day. So for me, thank you, and talk to you next week.
So bye. God bless you. In case you missed anything, you can always go to our YouTube channel and also learn from there. So have a great weekend.
Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Lawrence. It's a great day. We look forward to see you again more equipped next week.
Sure. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think there's a lady asking who is speaking. Wanji is asking who is speaking. I'm Lawrence and there's Louis. So yeah, just to answer her.